Excuse me, there a second. Well, hello there. I didn't know what that voice was. Hey,
I didn't know where I was.
listener, Dad,
Hello, Poopsie.
poopsies. That is what she calls her dad, maybe on Wicked, poopsies,
I haven't seen Wicked yet.
momsies and momsies and
I
poopsies.
saw Not So Nice, but not Wicked.
How have you not seen Wicked? I don't understand that.
I'm
Like, you
not
just
gonna.
haven't
I'm
seen
not.
it? I don't
You
understand.
know, I was happy with Judy Garland and Wizard of Oz.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't understand how you've seen it, but you should watch it. I was talking to my daughter, and we were talking about we're going to New York, and she had asked me how long is the flight. I said it's shorter than the first Wicked. That's how we speak in terms of time now.
That works for you. That's okay. You always in Boston.
What?
That's Wicked Pissa.
Ah, so Wicked Pissa. I still have to ask Keith how he knew that you were from Boston. He must have done some research on you.
Who's Keith?
Oh my gosh, we had the interview with him, the podcast. Listener, my dad may not remember you after he meets with you, but
Goldfish. Goldfish.
that's what
Boom.
happens when you're 77 years old.
Oh,
Like,
you did it again. Don't give out personal information. Jeez.
tell the story about what just happened at you at the store
What's the?
when you're walking in the pizza place.
Oh no, I can't.
I think it's funny. Go for it.
I was walking and four guys were coming out of the restaurant and said, "Hey, Mr. Stanley, how you doing?" I forgot I was wearing the Stanley hat. I said, "Do I know you?" But I saw he was wearing a Ritz-Carlton hat. I said, "Oh, Dr. Ritz, how are you? I'll see you at 2:30, room 425."
Did he laugh?
He walked away. So I gotta leave. I gotta leave in 10 minutes. Hup, room service.
All right, on that note, should we let our guest in?
Yes.
All right, neither of us know this
Can he,
guest.
can he top
So
that?
we're gonna find out. Neither of us know our guest. So let's see what is gonna happen. I'm pretty excited about this. Let's see. All righty. Welcoming Christopher Hill here in a moment.
Calling
Oh,
Dr. Hill, Dr. Hill, Dr. Jones, Dr. Hill.
mm.
Ah, hello.
Hey, hello. You're on mute. So go ahead and come off mute. And we are recording. This is a live. You are in the What's Your Story podcast. I'm Jamie, that's Stan. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Jamie and Stan, it's an absolute pleasure.
Oh, I love it. And I'm hearing the accent, so we're going to get into that. We've not
It's from
so
Rhode Island.
yeah, Rhode Island, yeah. So listener, we have never met Christopher. Do you go by Christopher or Chris, or what do you want us to call you? Mr. Hill, what would you prefer?
I go by both, but if pressed, I'll opt for Christopher.
Okay, perfect. We will do Christopher. Well, we are so excited to get to know you and have you on the podcast. Thank you for being a guest. We
So, what do you want to know?
No, no. We like to start off every episode by asking the same question of our guests to find out where you are mentally right now. So, our question is, which you may have heard from listening to other episodes, is what is your number right now? Not your phone number, not your postal code, but on a scale of 1 to 10.
And this decimals kind of like 0.25, 0.75.
Can I give the scale
Yeah, you
first?
can. Oh, I'm sorry, you can go.
On a
Yes,
scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best number you've ever had in your entire world, to a 1 being it shouldn't be a day that you should be actually mixing and mingling with people because just the energy is going to be contagious in a bad way. What is your number right now?
6.
Ooh, okay.
we got
What
we got some work to do.
stop, you're not supposed to judge about people's numbers. Oh my God, he's learning. He's still
I'm
learning
a
about
five and a
life.
half. I'm a five and a half.
So what would it take you to go from a 6 to a 6.25?
Not very much. It's really the reason it's relatively low is because a combination of jet lag and then also just back from camping this
Mm.
weekend without much sleep. So it's basically what it'll take is just getting more into the regular routine.
Got it. And sleep deprivation, I believe, is the worst form of torture. So, so where were you camping?
I was camping in a place called Carapiro, which is about 2.5 hours drive from uh, where I am now in Auckland. It was at a music festival there.
Wow. Is that something that you do on a regular basis, or was that a special trip?
Regular, but as an annual, yeah.
Okay.
I'm amazed you get any sleep at a musical festival.
Yeah, well, there pretty much wasn't any.
So it is like early in the morning for you then right now. It must be like 6 a.m. or no, what time is it for you right now?
7.
7 a.m. Okay, so you're in Auckland, New Zealand, correct? Yes, there's not another like so our listeners that are not educated in geography, that's where you're calling us in from. So we would love to learn your story. I know a little bit about from what some things were sent, but we want to start basically from the beginning and get to where you are now. So are you originally from New Zealand then?
I am originally from New Zealand, yeah. Although I have lived overseas quite a bit of my life. At the age of 12, we moved from New Zealand to Australia for 6 years. So essentially, all of my high schooling was done in Australia, and then we moved back to New Zealand and for college, and then I moved to London for 16 years,
Hmm.
and throw in a year in Canada as well.
Wow. So I've got so many questions. So first of all, because we hear that there is a rift sort of sometimes between New Zealand and, between Kiwis and Aussies, you don't like each other. So what was that like? Not that you don't like each other, but I feel like it's a fun riff. But that must have been interesting to go back and forth there. Tell us a little bit about that. Is that real, first of all? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it's a fun riff. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I mean, is it hard? Was it hard? How old were you when you moved to Australia?
12.
That's so, I
Big
mean, that's at a
adjustment. Sure.
fundamental age of you've already had so many friends, you had to pick up and
Yeah.
go. What prompted that move?
Oh, it was not definitely not me. Um, it was my dad got essentially a promotion within the company he was working for, to go from Auckland to a sort of a general manager role in Australia.
Got it. And so you were there for, you said 6 years, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then back to New Zealand.
Mm.
And then you
Yeah,
spent some
it
time in London.
was.
So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, as you say, 12, a formative age. And yeah, it was super tough, actually. I definitely didn't want to leave New Zealand. Um, when I got there, it was, it was that sort of fun rift, actually, in practice, in that, yeah, there is, an accent difference, and that was, 12-year-old kids definitely picked up on that, and it was done in fun, but I was made to say, repeat fish and chips and 66 over and over again, ad nauseum, and so I pretty quickly had to lose my Kiwi accent, for because it was just getting too much.
People just
I
can't get
got it
along.
back now.
It's so interesting. Now, do you have siblings that were at that age as well too, that were moving too?
Well, they were younger, but yeah, I had got two sisters, and obviously they moved over as well.
How strange was it going back to New Zealand after the 6 years in
Yeah,
Australia?
well, that's another good question. It was really strange because that was going into college, where most people going into college they don't, people certainly back then tend to, stay in their hometown,
Sure,
to go to college, and so for me, going into these massive lecture halls without really knowing anybody was quite daunting.
sure,
Um, and just the background for that was that I was, keen to get into law school, but you need to do like an intermediate year before going into law school. And so I was doing a business degree, and that was where the big cavernous lecture halls were. And yeah, yeah, it was quite it was a difficult, pretty, I mean, yeah, lonely year because it was a little bit, what's the word? People were in their cliques,
sure.
and
Yeah.
so
Did you come
didn't,
back with an Australian accent?
yeah, well, I must have a bit as
Well, and you
well.
called
Yeah.
it, I find it, so you called it college, but do you call it college or uni? Because you've been so all many different places.
Oh, you've got your finger on the pulse there.
Yeah, I was like, that was
Yeah,
surprised
we
that you
call it
said
uni.
college. Yeah. My
We
husband's
do call it
English.
uni.
My husband's English, and then my podcast producer, Viv, is from New Zealand. So she lives in
Right.
Christchurch Island.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yep. And then she's
Um,
going to Tonga. She's actually her dad's from Tonga, and they're going there for the first time soon, I think.
Wow,
So
good
yeah.
trip.
But yeah, but anyway, it's not about her, but she's hearing this now. She's producing it. So hi, Viv.
yeah, amazing, amazing.
But wow,
Yeah,
so
so
you, oh,
I
good.
I had actually, yeah, trying to get to law school, it was a difficult year, and really, quite intense. So what I didn't mention was that I did my first year of uni in Australia, and then moved to back to New Zealand. And in that year in New Zealand, it was tough. and so I had actually even reapplied to go back to Australia.
Oh,
Um, but then I did get accepted into law school, and that changed everything. It was much more sort of a fraternity type feel, much smaller, and may got to know people much more easily, and the rest is history. Loved it from there.
why law? Like, what was it? My husband's an attorney, and he tells my daughter every day, don't become a lawyer. Don't do it. My best friend's an attorney. She's like, don't become a lawyer. But like, what was it? At what age do you
No,
remember?
no one told him
Right?
that.
Yeah, you didn't have my husband or my best friend in your life. But at what point in your life, or how old were you when you were like, I want to be a lawyer? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, another great question. I think really I was influenced by my uncle who suggested doing a business degree and a law degree was a good platform to do a lot of
Sure.
things, really, not necessarily to become a lawyer. And so that was, and so he probably gave me that advice at, I don't know, the age of 12, something like
Oh,
that.
wow.
Um, and then in Australia, you could do a subject, and I did do this subject at high school called legal studies, which is just um, yeah, just an introduction to the legal system
Right.
and legal principles and so on. And she was probably the teacher I had was probably far and away the most inspirational teacher I had. And and I remember she gave me I won the prize actually for top student at the class and actually in the state. Um,
Wow.
and she gave me a book at the end of the year called Reform the Law by a High Court judge, which is kind of equivalent of a Supreme Court judge.
Hmm.
And she wrote a preface in it, sort of encouraging me to go down the legal um, uh, avenue. And and then I guess probably things like LA Law and other
Yeah.
shows
They make it look
undoubtedly
so
influenced me.
glamorous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So those things were definitely formative. And then I did work in my second to last year. I worked for a summer at a law firm and actually really enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. And they offered me a job and I did accept it and also got them to agree that I could travel for about 9 months
That's perfect. Yeah.
uh,
Wow.
before starting working for them. And my thinking at that point was that I just sort of get travel out of my system
Hmm.
and then settle down and become a lawyer because, yeah, as I say, I really enjoyed my time with the law firm.
Yeah.
And then actually then going into my final year, I won a scholarship from a British investment bank. And that changed everything really because they asked if well, they then said that the New Zealand office said, "Can we send your resume to London because they're hiring at the moment?" And I said, "Yeah, sure."
Hmm.
And then the London office said, can we meet with you?" And I said, "Well, actually, yeah, I'm planning on coming to London next year as part of this 9 month of travels."
Oh, wow.
And, and so I did get to London, and long story short, I did end up getting a job offer from them, which totally blew me away. I had absolutely uh, zero zero positivity about it because I was being interviewed by all these Oxbridge graduates who I got the impression they would sell their grandmother for the jobs they were in, and then yeah, they offered it to me, and I thought, well,
Oh.
if I don't accept it, I'll probably always regret it, and so I did accept it,
How much did you get for your grandmother?
yeah,
Sorry.
quite a bit.
You scared you.
But it's
My
so fun.
soul.
Yeah. It's funny because like I just think that's like those opportunities come, we don't expect them, right? And then they knock. I also, you were talking about going to uni and studying what you were studying, but like what our listener may not know, I didn't realize this, is that I have a lot of nieces and nephews that live in London. Here when we go to college, the first 2 years are basically like your 12th levels, like your 12 like level courses that you're taking there. When most other countries, when they go to university, they're focused on what they want to study. So you knew by that time like we here sometimes don't determine our degree or our major
Senior year.
until until you're like already in it. And so it's really fascinating. So you go to London, and your accent, by the way, is such a mush up of all the four places that you've lived. Like I'm hearing Canadian, I'm hearing British, I'm hearing, it's so funny how it's such a smush.
We
But
have
so
Google translators on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I went to a breakfast last week and there was a gentleman there and he had just come in and he said good morning. And I was like, I heard the accent and I was like, he's either English. I'm like, but I don't know if it was English. And I went up to him, I said, am I sensing UK? And then he spoke again. I'm like, no, you are from South Africa. I was like, I was totally off. But people probably screw up your accent all the time. Anyway, I digress. So you go to London, you take this job, take us to like how that created the next path for you.
It's a whole new field of business for you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd done a business degree, but and I had studied finance, but you know, it was completely, I hadn't had previous work experience, that's for sure.
In a city that
So,
you didn't know anyone. Did you know anyone there when you moved there?
oh yeah, I knew a few people, a few. Yeah, there was, yeah, it's a bit of a rite of passage really for Kiwis to go to London, and
Really?
so. Um, for most people, it's you do 2 to 3 years of working in New Zealand and then go. So it's unusual to go straight out of university, but there was two good friends of mine were there, and then some people I also knew that were, older than me that were there as well.
Exciting time, though.
I did not know that.
Thoroughly, absolutely, yeah. And that was the thing actually. We did a trip when I was like 15 to the UK, and I hated London. It was like this dirty, crowded, polluted city that I thought, I can't believe people live here. But when I got there as a 21-year-old, just the electricity in the air was, just so
Mhm.
exciting, so vibrant that I was, yeah, very pumped to be there.
And how long did you stay there? You stayed in that role for how long?
6 years.
Okay.
So it went well.
Yeah, it did. It did go well. But there was still an intervening event.
Oh,
And
here
that
Go
we go.
was
We're approaching the point.
Yes, let's hear your story.
Yeah. So when I first moved to London, I had some house roommates, um, and one of them ended up moving. He's English, but moved down to South Africa, and and we kept in touch. And he ended up becoming a tour guide, and and he knew that I mentioned that I was, did that, agreed with the law firm to do 9 months of travel and then get out of my system. It did the opposite, really. It just fueled the fire for me, for travel, and made me realize that the more you see, the more there is to see. And so whilst I was working in investment banking, I had this side gig of travel, so to speak. And so he knew that, and so he invited me down on a trip with him and his wife, down around Southern Africa. And so this was now 6 years later.
You're in like your late 20s at this time.
Yeah, I was exactly. Yep, yep. So 28,
And
probably
single at the time as well.
at the time. Yep.
Okay.
And so did this trip, and I and we were sort of tossing around some ideas. He knew that I love to travel, and he thought, and at that point, I was thinking about what to do next, really, in my career, and at that I was involved with a startup in a finance director, sort of CFO type role. Um, so I was evaluating whether or not to get involved with that more seriously. Um, but yeah, anyway, so we're tossing around ideas and in the travel space, and one idea that I came up with was to do trips that were a combination of sightseeing and giving back through volunteering. And he said, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And he said, "I've got a buddy of mine runs Habitat for Humanity down in Cape Town. Do you want to see if they've got a build happening when we get back down there?" And I said, "Yeah, that'll be great." And so he checked in with his friend, and as luck or providence or call it what you will would have it, they did have a
Universe.
build happening. Um, and so I was able to participate in that, and so got
Wow.
to help build a house for a family in one of the township areas, the slum
Wow.
areas, just outside of Cape Town.
That's so
And this changed everything. Um, it absolutely changed my life and added two extra dimensions to travel for me. One, I actually got to engage with the local people and hear their stories and gain insights into their lives. And and so that was super exciting for me to have this extra dimension. And then secondly, it felt great to actually make a difference in the lives of the family that we were helping alongside to build. And so I got thinking, well, I've learned some good business skills. Why don't I put it now into something I find a bit more meaningful and fulfilling and make it easy for others to have similar experiences to what I just had. And so that was the genesis for what became Hands Up Holidays, a travel business that I ended up launching a few years later.
Wow. I mean, so many questions, but I'm going to start with this. Where did that empathy of wanting to help others and volunteer and give back stem from for you? Like where, you're 28 years old. I remember like when you're 28, you're living in London, you're living the life, you're in the city, it's like hustle and bustle and 28, I'm not making a generalization here, but like that doesn't a lot of times come to mind for people. So where did that stem from for you?
Yeah, yeah, fair point. I think from my faith, my Christian faith as well. Yeah, and having done a bunch of different volunteering, short-term sort of stuff over the course of my life. Yeah.
Did you do mission trips and that those kinds of things as well growing up?
I never have done a labeled missions trip. No, it's been um, more local actually. Yeah.
Okay. So then this like stems this whole new opportunity for you where you're like, okay, I'm gonna build this company that is travel based, but also helping people as they're doing that. Is that when you're like, peace out, London, headed back to New Zealand and I'm
No,
heading
he
like,
went back to
or
London
did you go to
first.
Canada? Like, where'd you go? Because like,
You got it. Yeah.
you
So
to
the next step
Canada.
was Canada. Yeah. So I
Why?
spent
Like, why Canada? I mean, not obviously like
yeah.
there's so many reasons to go to Canada, but like, what was it? How did Canada pull you there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it actually comes back to what I just mentioned about my faith, my Christian faith. I actually went to a theological school there to essentially, go a bit deeper and get some questions answered. And yeah, so that was the reason, and it was essentially like a sabbatical year for me. Just sort of took a year out, and as I say, studied, did get some questions answered, and and this is where also the idea for Heads Up Holidays really end up taking root.
When you say you had some questions answered, I can't leave that on the table. Uh,
Yeah,
are you comfortable talking about that a little bit about like what really made you? Because you're here in this finance job, you're making decent money, more than decent money probably for a 28-year-old, but you're like, okay, I'm gonna say goodbye for a year, take a year off and go to theology school. Like that's a big step. So what kind of answers were you looking for? I don't know, did something happen or like just kind of share this about that?
yeah. Well, answers around big questions around the purpose of life and why are we here? Yeah, so those sort of things.
That's a huge question. Did something prompt you to want to find that information out? Was there something that happened in life to cause that, or just
Um,
general curiosity?
I think not I wouldn't say one thing, but just life in general. Wanting to get a handle on the big picture of things.
Yeah.
How'd you support yourself in Canada during that sabbatical? Any income coming in?
No, well, not really. As I say, at that point, I was still involved with the startup. And so a little bit at the start, I was, well, yeah, a little bit. I was doing some ongoing work with them in the like early months in Canada. But it was more, as you've alluded to, I was on a pretty good income, so I just had some savings. That was,
Did you get some of the answers to those big questions?
yeah, I did. Yeah.
Would you share them with us? Because I haven't got time to. I'm too old to go to start a new life.
Well, in a nutshell, to my mind, there is a God and he's in control. And so there's there is a purpose behind a lot of the madness.
He does laugh
In
a
a
lot.
nutshell,
He laughs a lot.
for me.
I hope he's laughing because the rest of us are crying. But
Yeah,
You laugh.
I hear
well,
you.
now I'm laughing. Now I'm laughing. I think that's interesting. So you're in Canada, then you come out of school, and then is that where it just really kicks off for you after that?
Yeah, it does. It does. I then after Canada, I moved back to New Zealand and really use that as a base from which to travel and build relationships with different communities around the world. I should probably add, at that point, I I was going to launch the business really with just one destination, i.e. South Africa, and just off of South Africa, but got some advice from a family friend in the travel industry who said, if you want to come across as more credible and attract a wider audience, probably delay your launch and until you get more destinations on board. And so took that advice and so delayed the launch for a couple of years and and that in that time did travel around, as I say, and building these relationships with different travel different communities and travel partners for and so we ended up launching. So this was it was 2003 I was in Canada, and then 2004 and 5 was essentially New Zealand based but traveling the world, and launching in 2006 with
I
about
understand
20
people
destinations.
would travel through you, your agency, and participate in a volunteer program wherever they want, like a Habitat for Humanity or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, like that. But with still a combination of volunteering and sightseeing. So the idea is that you still get some downtime. And we right from the get-go had pitched it at at um, more of a high-end experience as well. So it was really at the sort of target audience that I had in mind when I was doing those 2 years of travel and starting to put things together was, I guess, people like myself, young professionals, cash rich, time poor, who wanted to have a high-end travel experience, but also make a difference.
So to project
And
the best interest of the brand, would you meet them in South Africa and be part of that particular tour?
um, no, actually, at the when I had just South Africa in mind, it was we there was a South African guy that I met in Canada who was moving back to South Africa, and he was going to be meeting them there, but not me. I was going to be more involved in the
Region.
marketing
Back
Yeah,
office.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So now you've been
yeah
doing this for 20 years, right?
20 years this year. Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Mm,
I mean, that obviously is filling the bucket of your love for travel. I would imagine you're taking these trips yourself as well, too. Yes.
sure. Yeah.
Give us some idea of like where are some of the destinations that people choose to go with you? And it's obviously not just South Africa. So where are some of these other destinations that are really popular what people are choosing?
Well, South Africa is popular, but it's one
Right,
of I
right.
guess many now. Actually, I should round out. Uh, just I mentioned that the target audience when we launched was young professionals,
Yeah.
and however, when we actually launched, we started
Funny how
getting
that works, right?
inquiries. Yeah, we started getting inquiries from families and
Ooh,
bookings from families, and that really
Makes a
floored
difference.
me. I didn't have families in mind at all when I was setting it up. It just didn't occur to me, and didn't have kids of my own back then. And so, yeah, I would ask them, why are you guys booking with us? And they say things like, our kids come from pretty privileged backgrounds, and we really want them to appreciate just how fortunate they are. Or
yeah.
they'd say, we're looking for a great family bonding experience, and this really nails it for us. And that really resonated with me. And so in fairly short order, we shifted our focus really to not to exclude anyone else, but certainly primarily towards families. And and I should also add that it was mostly American families.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
um,
How did
because I
they,
should
so
say,
this was like 2006 you started, right? So this is like the
yeah,
beginning, not the beginning of the internet, but really people were not using the internet a lot then, right? So you're literally across the world from the United States. So how were people finding you? What were you using back then to really connect? And I know
yeah.
that sounds crazy, listener, that 20 years ago we were not using the internet the way that we use it now. Like literally we use it for everything now. But in 2006 we were just kind of really the beginning stages.
It was pretty Wild West in early days. You're right, but still, obviously, we had a website, and Yeah, I think it's it is a great question. Partly we were I should what I didn't say is in 2006 I moved back to the UK, so I moved back to London and launched in London again, thinking London was going to be a main audience because I knew that
Yeah.
market
Yeah. Yeah.
certainly pretty well, and it was a big market and so on, much bigger than New Zealand.
Right.
But as I say, right from the get-go, we were getting bookings out of the US, and that's held consistent. 90% of our clients are Americans,
Wow.
90% plus. But back then, even back then, we were quite fortunate to get um, in Condé Nast Traveler magazine. We also won the Travel and Leisure Global Vision Award, I think 2008,
Ooh.
and we got into even back then like New York Times and Wall Street Journal. I guess because we were a new concept, so
Sure.
PR. Yeah, newspaper magazine coverage was absolutely fantastic for us in both the UK and especially in the US.
And nobody else was doing this. It's just you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and social
And it's,
media wasn't really, it was just starting to kick off in 2006 as well, too, because I think Facebook came out in like 2004, 2005 or something like that.
Is it any
mm,
one destination that's high above all the others?
well, yeah, probably. I think this probably wasn't immediately the most popular, but has become, and has been for a long time, would be Costa Rica.
Hmm.
Really? And is there an age for children that they should be at in order to really find the most success from the trip, like a certain age, the youngest?
Mm, Yeah, you do ask great questions. Yeah,
I
essentially,
do.
what we typically say is that from about the age of 5, kids can get involved with our wildlife conservation projects, and Costa Rica is one of
I'm sure.
those. So can help at a wildlife rescue center with injured or otherwise rehabilitated, or be in the process of being rehabilitated monkeys and parrots and
Mm.
other wildlife, and helping with preparing their meals and maintaining their enclosures and creating enrichments to stimulate the animals. So, so as I say, things like that, or our elephant conservation projects that we offer in Thailand, India, and Sri Lanka. Similar sort of thing, preparing their meals, observing them as they walk and bathe and socialize, and it's a strong emphasis on those projects on education as well, learning a lot about the welfare of the monkeys and parrots, or elephants, as the case may be. And so, as I say, from about the age of 5, kids can get involved with those. And then they can get involved with those obviously from any age,
Right.
but once they hit their teens, more or less, and this is very much a rule of thumb, and it's down to each family's particular situation. But as a rule of thumb, for teenage years, we love to encourage them to get involved with the community focused projects, the building projects, the renovation projects, because
Mhm.
certainly for me, that's where the magic happens. Like the experience I mentioned
Your
that I
very
had in
first
Sri
experience,
Lanka.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's at the core of what
And
you do. Yeah.
yeah, it is really, yeah.
Wow, that is so amazing. So now you have children of your own, you said, yes?
I do now, yeah.
And
Yeah.
how old are your children?
They are now 13 and 14, two boys.
So is your life this travel? Like you're going and visiting the places, like you're scouting out new places, I would imagine, and scouting new opportunities and getting your boys to understand the importance of giving back. Is that part of how your life is now?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely it is. And obviously they're at school, so we're not like spending our lifetime on the road.
Right.
But yeah, during the school, vacation times,
Right.
yeah, we've had some great experiences. One of the highlights was a recent trip we took to Bali, Indonesia, where we, in addition to going whitewater rafting with them and um, mountain biking and hiking through to incredible waterfalls through rice paddies and so on. We also got to install a disabled accessible bathroom for a paraplegic person. And
Wow.
in Bali's a Hindu island, and if you are born with a disability, it can be considered bad karma,
Mm.
and you can be
Ostracized.
essentially
Sure.
lead very isolated, hidden away life because of that. And so to be able to bring this measure of independence and dignity in an area so personal, such as going to the bathroom,
Yeah.
was a really powerful thing. And it was great to be able to get the kids involved with drawing water from the village well and then taking that water over to where the cement was being mixed. And they would get involved with doing that, mixing the cement by hand and then ladling it into the wheelbarrow and then wheeling it over to where the experts were doing the tricky parts. But yeah, it was fantastic. And then they'd also, play with the local kids, play soccer with them.
Yeah.
And so they were getting that immersion as well.
Christopher,
Yeah.
book us. Pick us up at the airport. We're coming tomorrow.
Well, but I have a
Awesome.
question. So when you're doing a project like that, is it your organization that comes up with the Give Back project, or are you partnering with another not-for-profit or organization that actually does the work? Like, what does that relationship look like?
Yeah, yeah, it's I think almost always a case of partnering with local people who are, they're already doing what they do. Just we're
Okay.
collaborating with them.
Got it.
Yeah.
So say I'm like, listen, I want to go to Bali or I want to go to Costa Rica. And I get on your website, and I haven't done this yet, so I apologize for that. But I get on the website. Does it give me options of how I want to give back, or are there just certain trips that are planned, already pre-planned with what you can do?
Mm, mm. Yeah, it's very much the former. So the idea is on the website, you can either essentially choose by destination, and then you could go into Costa Rica, Bali, Zambia, Peru, wherever you want to look at. And then within that, you can see the ways you can help, or you can search by way of help. So you say, "Oh, I really want to build a house. Where can I do that?" And so you can search that way as well. And then it's another aspect of, or another thing that makes us a bit different is that every trip is tailor-made. And so you can't go onto the website and just book a trip because, off the shelf, there is no off the shelf trip to book with it like on the, you know, 1st of July, I want to do this trip to
Right.
book that particular trip to Costa Rica, departing on the 1st of July. There isn't that there. Every trip is as I say, custom made for you. And and that's it actually didn't start out that way. When we first launched, we did have set dates and set itineraries and and that ended up being quite frustrating for us, particularly in that early stage, because we would get because when we had fixed days, we also needed like a minimum number of people to travel. And so we'd get, let's say the minimum was six, we might get four people. And then it was a lot of work to try and shift them to another date
Yeah.
or have to cancel a trip. Really frustrating. So pretty quickly moved to this fully tailor-made model where even for one person, we'll run a trip for you for the dates that you want to travel.
And is it still high-end accommodations like you had
It
originally
is,
started with?
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Again, I mean, I'm so passionate about what we do that I do my utmost to fit within anyone's budget. But certainly, primarily, it is at that higher end, and that's partly or largely actually because our model is what I describe as a philanthro volunteering model, in that it's the funds that our clients bring, which is the benefit that they bring. Like for instance, for that disabled accessible bathroom or a house, so our clients actually pay those costs of the materials, but and also hiring local people to do
Wow.
certainly the tricky parts and even most of the work. And so that even if our clients have like just a few days, then through their funds, they're employing local people to get the work done, um, so that when they arrive, they can do the finishing touches in really just a few days.
Wow.
And so that's our model. And so that requires, some, a reasonable amount of money to get these things done. And so we've pitched the overall experience at that high end so that it's attractive to people who are accustomed to to high end experience,
Right.
and can still get those creature comforts and make the impact.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay, so I have a pretty big question in the travel agency. About 6 years ago, things probably came to a halt for you. How did you
Yeah.
pivot? We're talking for those that are not familiar with what happened 6 years ago, but we were in a worldwide pandemic. And obviously, parts of the world felt it different than others. But you're traveling, the countries that you're traveling to were certainly locked down. We're certainly, the US was not going. We were not. So what did you do? Like, how did you pivot? What
Um,
did that look like for you for those 2 years? You had young kids at the time, so they were 6 and 7. Do they do that
yeah.
over there? Do they do the whole 6, 7 thing in New England? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Unfortunately,
Oh my
yes.
gosh. So it is worldwide. It's like I just said it. And I was like, oh, does he know what that is? Sorry if I. All right, listener, now you know that stupidity is worldwide. But anyway, so what'd you do? Like that's the heart and
Yeah.
Went
soul of
back
your
to the
business.
monastery in Canada.
Yeah.
Well,
Canada would
funnily
have let
enough,
him in.
yeah. Well, like I said, well, I, as I said, I was set to become a lawyer back in, well, 1996. I was meant to start work as a lawyer. Um, I decided, so I finished my law degree, but I never got admitted to the bar. And so I thought, well, maybe this is my time to 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 become a lawyer. So I studied for the bar.
During
And
COVID. During COVID, that's what you started
during
studying.
COVID, yeah. Yeah. I did it online.
Okay.
And 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 again, really enjoyed it. I thought, yeah, I could see this sort of late stage career change of becoming a lawyer. And so, as I say, studied for the bar, passed the bar exams, and then applied to get admitted to the New Zealand bar. And they said, "Oh, sorry, your degree has gone stale, and
I
you'd
didn't know that
actually
could
need
happen.
to." What's that?
I didn't know that could happen.
Well, I certainly didn't know it could
Did I know it
happen.
wasn't bread? Bread goes to a degree doesn't go stale.
That's so
Well,
bizarre.
according to the New Zealand Law Society, it does.
For a
And
certain
so,
fee, you can get it, you can unstale it. Right. No,
Fortunately.
yeah. So what did you do?
well, at that point, I thought, so what they said was, yeah, I need to resit basically the six core law papers again, which is like, contract, criminal, tort, property, and so on, which is basically 2 years of work,
Gee.
2 years of study. And I didn't have time for that. And so ended up that door seemed to close. I could maybe have argued it, taken it to the next level. I ended up not doing it. I ended up at
Because you
that.
just
Well,
shut this
actually,
business down. You shut the trial. It was like shut down for you, right? Like everything was
it
completely
shut
shut.
down for me. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. For 2 years, it was essentially, zero income from the travel business.
Wow.
Um, I did still work at a law firm as a law clerk, um, and so I did that part time, and actually I also worked for a child trafficking charity part time as well.
We're all
And
remote because you weren't going back into an office, right? Or were they opening, were they essential workers?
at that at actually in New Zealand, you you could at that point, New Zealand was shut down to the rest of the world,
Yeah.
but everything was still happening really within New Zealand at that point. So um,
I think you had
yeah,
the
no, I was
lowest
going to an
number
office.
of, didn't New Zealand have like the lowest number of cases of COVID because you guys shut down pretty fast? Did I remember
Yeah,
that?
I
Or is
mean,
that,
it kind of went a bit pear-shaped for us in the end,
yeah,
but initially, yes, that is the case.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Wow.
yeah,
Okay, so you're working this law firm, you're working this child trafficking and just trying to make ends meet, I would imagine.
yeah, exactly. Having to put, food on the table. Yeah.
Yeah. And then were the boys in school or schools closed?
Yeah, they were in school as well. I mean, we did end up having, some lockdown periods, and I'm really hazy of those dates now. It's
I
all a
know,
bit of a
right?
blur.
Ugh.
But But yeah, they were mostly at school.
And then at what point was it like, all right, we're open for business again? It was because obviously we had like COVID, then it kind of went down, then we had COVID again, then we had this strain and that strain. And then I think I'm trying to remember, was it 2021? Maybe it was that end of 2021 that it started. I don't even know. When did it start to kind of
Yeah,
start?
I,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
I'm trying to forget
2021. We
that
had
part of my
basically
life.
2 solid years of
Yeah. Okay.
zero income. So 2022 started to, you know, get a bit of daylight. Yeah.
How many families would you say you have going on trips year round now?
Oh, these days, I mean, we're not a huge business, but it's somewhere around sort of 3 to 4 a month.
Oh, that's great. And that is your sole business now. That is what you work on. That's what you do.
Um, Actually, no, it's not.
Mm.
I still have, what's the word? Kept that heart for the charitable sector, and I'm involved also with a charity that actually, well, one thing, I'm on the board of the child trafficking charity, and I'm also working for a charity that arranges community-based living for people with intellectual disabilities. Uh,
Wow.
See, I told you there's
yeah.
something for me over there.
Don't joke about that. But well, I mean, those are two obviously very important issues to be handling. So you're on the board of the child trafficking, and I mean, the fact that it's even what it's become, is it as bad in New Zealand as it is here in the States?
Well, probably not. And actually, our focus is not on New Zealand for that charity. It is international. It's more
Okay.
places like Thailand, the
Mhm.
Philippines, Uganda, India, Nepal is where we focus for that.
Got it. And then what drew you to the other part? What drew you to the intellectual not-for-profit?
So, what was your question, Jen?
What drew you to give your
What
time?
drew me to it? Yeah. Well, again, I had read that there's a a writer and a theologian, a Dutch guy by the name of Henry Nouwen, and he had written some books really about his time. He was a Yale professor, and then he ended up spending time, I believe it was a year, but it might even be longer, at one of these communities in Canada actually, and he wrote about it, and people were saying, why did you end up going from writing these books which are touching so many lives and being this professor which was impacting so many people to devoting yourself to one gentleman who can't even reciprocate. He was, basically in a vegetative state, this man that he was caring for. And as I said, he'd written about this experience, but he said, I'm the one who's benefiting out of this relationship, not anyone else. And so he was kind of saying I'm being selfish in doing
Mhm.
this,
Yeah.
um, and that really blew me away. And so that was my awareness of the charity, its name is Lash. And however, I actually didn't even know that it was in operating in New Zealand. I just always thought it was operating in North America and Europe. And so I had admired it from afar more than anything. But then I heard about a job opening there, and so I thought, well, let's explore this, and I've loved it. It's
Wow.
incredibly life-giving.
I mean, wow. I mean, you just do so much for the world. It's incredible. I love how you've combined just your brilliance of, going to uni and understanding the way the business works with an organization that gives back, but also gives families that travel bit. The involvement you have in this not-for-profit world as well, too. I mean, it's amazing. Like I'm blown away. I feel, yeah, I want to book a trip. I need to book a
Now,
trip.
tell us one of the craziest stories how the trip went so wrong you couldn't turn it around. There's got to be a great story out there.
Wow, there isn't something as bad as that. There really isn't.
Make something up.
Oh, other than, I mean, in one sense, maybe this fits the bill. I can't remember the year. maybe around 2009, there was a volcano in Iceland that was wreaking havoc. You might remember, it was spewing ash and causing all
Yeah.
sorts of flight disruptions. And so we had a family in Morocco, if I recall correctly, that couldn't get back to. Actually, they were a British family that time. Couldn't get back to the UK due to the ash clouds, and so that was something that I certainly couldn't do anything about. I couldn't
Yeah.
blow real hard and get the ash clouds to
Get
change
the wind
direction.
turbines going or something like that.
Um,
But I
yeah,
imagine
yeah.
that you have just had so many families have so many incredible experiences, and they probably keep coming back for more. Like that, I believe that would probably be a trip where you have got repeat travelers
Well,
who,
yeah. Again, you've really nailed it there, Jamie. Yeah, absolutely. That was an incredible thing that we would getting these families booking, and then they would book again and again
Mm.
and again. So we've got some families. It's yeah, again, mostly Americans who've booked travel with us 4 or 5 times around the world.
I love that.
Mm.
I always think it's, so living over here in the States, we're not, the culture is not, and that's actually going to put too much of a boundary on it, but the majority of people don't travel as much. My nieces and my nephews in London, they are going all over the world all the time because I feel like it's readily accessible to you. Like it's or easier to get around. And they're going to
True.
Singapore and they're going to Sri Lanka and they're going to India and they're going to Thailand and like for a weekend, not for a weekend, but they travel so much more. And I feel like in the US, people don't give themselves the opportunity to do that as much. So that may be why you're getting more US families. I don't know, but I just think it's really unique and different. And I love what you're doing. I'm going to go with my husband onto the website and take a look and see where we can go. Because I think
Please
that,
do.
yeah,
Yeah,
I have a 10-year-old and she is about giving back and it's who our family is. But, it's such a great idea. And we love to travel the world. And because like you said, when you had the travel bug, the more that you travel, the more that you learn too.
totally.
I always tell everyone I worked on a cruise ship after college. I did that for 2 years, and it was the best job I ever had because I had the opportunity to work with people from around the world. And
Hmm.
you learn so much, and you become more accepting, and you become more understanding, and the world needs that right now.
Oh gosh, does it what? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wow. And my parents were actually just in New Zealand. How long were you in New Zealand?
2 weeks.
No, you weren't there 2 weeks ago. You were there for 2 weeks, but how long? You went on a cruise? Was it a
I
cruise?
spent, I
No.
spent most of the time in Queensland.
Oh, good. Yeah. So.
Spectacular.
Yeah. So my sister was there as well too. It's now my turn. I need to get over there and experience it. So maybe that's what our destination is that a destination for one of your trips?
It is, yeah, yeah. We have so the project we offer there is penguin habitat conservation project down in the South Island, which is really because New Zealand had more and sort of has still some um, flightless birds. Before humans came here, it was everything was flightless, and then once humans arrived, that
They were like, "Get
amount,
me out of here! I will learn to fly."
yeah. But
Show
also
me
the
where
humans
people.
also brought in things like rats and cats and dogs and so on. And so building these predator-proof boxes for the penguins to nest in
Mm.
uh, enables their populations to flourish as well, to protect them, as I say, from rats and
Yeah.
ferrets and stoats and cats and even wild cats as well.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
Great trip.
Well, I just think you're fascinating. I'm so glad that we got connected to have you as a guest. Is there anything else that you would like to tell our listeners? Well, we've got a few more moments together in your episode. Anything else our listeners should know?
Yeah, I'll quickly mention that we launched another brand as well, much more recently, and that one's called Impact Destinations. And they have the same underlying concept of high-end trips that combine sightseeing with philanthropy. But the difference with Impact Destinations is that actually you don't roll up your sleeves and build a house or help at a wildlife rescue center or something like that. With that one, your funds will enable the experts to do what they do best, but at the same time, unlock a unique experience for you. So, for example, on a safari day in South Africa, you can fund the rescue of the relocation of a rhino that's facing a lot of poaching, and the relocation to a protective reserve in Botswana. So this is where you actually get into the helicopter with the veterinarian while he is darting the rhino, and then land, spend some time with a sedated rhino, and then see it get airlifted off to Botswana. So this is really about leaving a legacy and being able to say, I saved the life of a rhino whilst on safari.
That is so cool. Do you do trips for singles?
Yeah, we do. I mean, as I say, each trip is
Wow.
tailor-made, so we do it for
Friends,
anyone.
I think. Yeah. I mean, that could be a
Are you
good.
sending me?
You're not single and I'm not single. Oh my gosh, seriously. I meant like for single people. That would be a great place to meet somebody. You have the same kind of, methodology around wanting to give back and helping people. And so great way to bond.
It's an expensive date.
Oh, whatever. Anyway. Well, we are so grateful. Where can our listeners learn more about both of your projects or all of your projects? What's the best place to
Yeah.
send them?
Well, we're on the socials with Hands Up Holidays and Impact Destinations, or probably still best is the website. So handsupholidays.com and impactdestinations.com.
I love it. I love it. Well, we are so grateful that you took time to spend with us from like literally on the other side of the world. We're in Florida, so we are really, very far.
Yep.
But thank you to the powers of Zoom and the internet, we're able to connect. We're so grateful. So what's on tap for you today? Like what's going to be your day to day? Go back to sleep now after the
He's not
festival?
sleeping. He's not sleeping.
You've actually got me up to a 9. This
Ah,
conversation. It's reinvigorated me for sure.
yes. I love it. Well, seize the day, as they say, carpe diem. We are so grateful, Christopher, that you took time to talk with us. Thank you for being our guest. Thank you for what you're doing in the world. The world needs more people like you, and we all need to go take more trips with you so we can help even more people around the globe. Thank you so much.
Bon
It's been
voyage.
a blast. Was that
Bon voyage.
bon voyage? Yes. Thank
Nice
you.
to meet
Thanks,
you.
Christopher.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
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 That's a trip. I like a trip like that.
How cool is that? We're doing it. I'm going to look it up and we're going to see Hands Up Holidays.
Can I fly in the helicopter and shoot anybody I want?
That is not this kind of trip. Like what?
No,
Listener, I'm cutting him off.
another- New concept. New concept.
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Listener, we're so grateful that you were here. Go to Hands Up Holidays to book your give back trip. Christopher, thank you for being a guest. Whew.
Good
Love
day.
it.
Good day, mate.
That is the Australian side of him.
Well, it's close
Yeah,
enough.
cheers. What do they say in New Zealand?
Let's go look it up.
I'm gonna ask Viv. Hey Viv, if you're listening to this, sorry for the ignorance. We love you. All right. Thanks everyone. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time on What's Your Story?
See you stateside.
Oh yeah, bye.
Bye. Hey, thank you for tuning into today's What's Your Story podcast.
To learn more or share your story, go to jamiemarco.com. That's www.jaimemarco.com. And we will see you next time.